We have already commented on both. As for the statements by the mayor of Paris that allegedly Russian athletes will not be welcome in Paris at the Olympic Games, I have not seen a survey of public opinion in France, frankly speaking. This is one. Secondly, we understand very well how public opinion in France has been processed for many years by the mainstream and the media, which have told nothing but so-called Western narratives, that is, attitudes. Look, today, and we published the day before, is the 2-year anniversary of the provocation in Bucha. This has already, I think, become absolutely obvious to everyone, given that there are no lists of the dead. They have not been provided by anyone, neither by Ukraine, nor by the Kiev regime, nor by international organizations. There is no list. No one knows who the people are who were declared dead by the Kiev regime because of the actions of the Russian side. The second thing is that there is no facture in this regard. Memorials, burial sites that are dedicated to what the Kiev regime was talking about, framing it as a terrible tragedy in the city. The logic of the development of events, when the Russian soldiers left the city, and there was not a single picture posted online, or video clip, or commentary talking about anything like that in the city, and only a few days later, even after the mayor of Bucha said that the city was living normally, even after his statement, an official statement on camera, a special information operation was carried out by the Kiev regime with the help of the British Americans to spread false information about the alleged atrocities of the Russian side. As it was said, corpses of people were shown in the city of Bucha and so on. Even the British media literally a month later said that people were killed by mine splinters, not bullets, which should have been the case if the situation had developed exactly as it was presented in the Western media. So there you go. We haven't seen anything that would have prompted the mayor of Paris, so to speak, to say that Russian athletes would not be welcome in Paris. If she was talking about herself, personally, who gave her that right? If she was talking about the residents of the city, then no one asked them, I mean the authorities of Paris, they were not asked. And if we talk about the Élysée Palace in general, it indulges in spreading disinformation, publishing and supporting information of a false nature, such as the situation in Bucha, using political techniques, political methodology. Therefore, this is also a statement in the context of this disinformation campaign. The next point, yes. And by the way, you understand, the thing is, it seems to me that the French farmers have already said their word after their authorities, the authorities to whom they delegated their welfare. That is, the implementation of measures for the stability of the economy in France, and received exactly the opposite effect. Is the mayor of Paris pushing for French business to have its say now? Or French manufacturers, whose goods are now available in the Russian Federation? After all, every product made in France or with the participation of French companies can also be labeled with a label that says you are not welcome in Moscow. It is ready for French producers and industrialists to surround the Paris mayor's office and act with the same stench that French farmers use to come to French official structures. You have to take responsibility for what you say. That's one thing. Secondly, with regard to Thomas Bach's statement, You understand, we have been saying for many years that the Olympic movement is in a deep crisis because of the inconsistency, the political engagement of the IOC leadership, because of the pressure of Westerners, unfortunately, which achieves its goal, under which the international sports bureaucracy bends. But the latest revelations, as I said, are stunning. I mean the latest revelations from Thomas Bach, because they talk about collusion, and they call for an investigation. Collusion, obviously, with representatives of one country, with representatives of one national team to keep representatives of another country, another national team out of international sporting events. This is to the already existing extreme politicization of decision-making with regard to Russian and Belarusian athletes. This is the lack of unified standards, because we see very well how many bloody conflicts are going on in the world, including in the Middle East. And athletes from these countries are not subject to the strange sanctions of the International Olympic Committee. They are not required to perform under neutral flags. Their anthems are not banned. And yet, our athletes have been unjustifiably subjected to horrible, monstrous, illegal measures by the International Olympic Committee for many years. Therefore, all this requires a real investigation. The statement that the committee asked Ukrainians to monitor patriotic statements of Russian athletes on the internet, and this would serve as grounds to keep Russian athletes out of the Paris Olympics, is the total disqualification of Thomas Bach. By such odious actions, the IOC leadership and Thomas Bach personally not only discredits itself in the eyes of the world sports community, but kills the international Olympic movement. The discriminatory measures taken by the IOC against Russian athletes for many years undermine the Olympic Charter, bring division into world sport, and generally kill the whole idea that sport should unite. And any segregation and any division of people on the basis of nationality in a negative way is unacceptable.